Alright, welcome to what is going to be my tier list of the ESO chapters we've had so far. We're going to have Morrowind, Somerset, Elsewhere, Greymore, Blackwood, High Isle, and Necrom. Obviously, with Gold Road being announced but not out, we can't really rate it. So, we're going to talk about how the chapters look, how they feel, the music, any kind of additional content that came out with it, the questing, and we'll kind of tie it all together and rank them. Obviously, this is the definitive list. My opinion is the only correct one, and if you disagree, you're wrong. So just, get angry in the comments and I'll ignore you. We'll get started then. First up, we have Morrowind. I'm not really a fan of the mushroom places. I know other people are, but for me, it just doesn't quite do it. It's like trying to be weird and alien, but all I can think of at this point is the Minecraft mushroom lands. And I'm like, yeah, it just seems silly. And I know Morrowind's obviously older, but that's all I think of. Music wise, great music, great variation on the main theme. We also got the Warden, which was great. Questing was pretty good. I mean, we got to see that the Dunmer are terrible, which is, accurate. And yeah, other than that, it's, stop the end of Morrowind from happening, and Vardenfell shall survive. Honestly, for me, very average chapter. Squarely in the B tier. Next, we have Somerset. Really, really pretty. Great locations. We also got Artaeum, which is really pretty and interesting and different. We got scrying and jewelry crafting. Or we didn't get scrying, sorry. We got jewelry crafting. Scrying was Greymore. We got jewelry crafting. And that was fantastic. Better than a class, because, dear lord, finally being able to do. Finally being able to make our jewelry improve was so nice. And we also made a lot of money with it up until Necrom. So, questline, I thought it was interesting. I liked bringing very alien species that we don't run into all the time, with the Slodes. And then also, this is a continuation of the same kind of like quest line that we've had for the previous two chapters, one pseudo chapter with Arsenium. And we kind of get to see the conclusion of that. I really liked it. I thought the music was fantastic. I thought the cinematic, which I didn't mention this for Morrowind cinematic, was really great. Somerset, even better in my opinion. This is clearly an A tier chapter. Then we had Elsewhere. We're going to the home of the Khajiit. Music right off the back, really great. We had this really new dynamic world area, which was vertical in a lot of places that we hadn't seen before. You could go really high up and then be really low down and be right next to each other, and it made a not giant zone seem twice as big, because to hit both of those levels meant that the things felt far apart even though they were right next to each other. And I love that. I love that verticality. I wish they'd bring it back more. We saw it a little bit with the Thieves Guild area, but verticality is great in the zones. It should be used a lot more. Questline, maybe one of the best, in my opinion. I really liked it. We got the Necromancer. I really liked a lot about this chapter. To me, personally, this is the S tier. And if you disagree, again, you're wrong, and I don't care. Up next, we have Greymore. And I want to point out, Elsewhere, hidden princess of the land. We help her, and we save the day. Greymore, the first thing we do is meet the hidden princess who's like, I'm too cool to be a princess. We're gonna save the land. The beats were very similar, and it annoyed me. And I ended up not liking a lot of it because of that. And I didn't like a lot of the main story quests. The other quests were okay. Raymore itself up top was not that impressive. Down below, very impressive. Some of the coolest places in the game. I love showing it off to people that don't play and saying, look at this castle. All right. Hero Storms are really cool. On par with dragons, in my opinion. So I think the big thing about this one, because the music also great, is this the questline was too similar to what we had just done. And that made it a B tier chapter below Morrowind even. I think that if the quests had been better, we would have seen probably a higher score. Probably could have been A if it wasn't being held back by that. Blackwood. The quest for Blackwood was so disappointing, and I just could not like it at all. It felt too much like this is where they started treating us like we were stupid as hell. You know, every time I turn around, it's like, oh, these unsolvable mysteries, and I'm like, 2 seconds of looking at going, yeah, that's not unsolvable. That's very obvious. I'm like, is everyone around me just idiots? It's like, yes. Music wise, really great. The differential between Blackwood, Nirn, and the Deadlands music, so different and so great that they were. Deadlands, I like that they tried to make some variation on Deadlands is Oblivion but red, you know? And then they were like, what about this little bit of purplish zone? There's a little bit of greenish zone. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't really different. It was just like color filters. So it felt weird that we did that. I felt like there may have been a better way to do it, but yeah, at least they tried something. Honestly, with how bad the quest was, it's a C tier. And I didn't mention it, but you know, with Greymore we got Scrying, and with Deadlands we got companions. Blackwood we got companions, yeah. And neither of those is really enough to make it go up a tier. High Isle, oh boy, High Isle was another disappointing story. Literally met the big bad guy in his non-big bad guy identity and immediately went, yeah, that's the Ascendant Lord. I know it. It was just so obvious and so painfully obvious, and what we'd been promised was this grand political intrigue, not trying to save the world, and then the story turned out to be saving the world and very little political intrigue. I really wish they'd lean more into that political intrigue, and you know, we had almost a little bit with the two houses, and we're like, oh, we're gonna figure out which one's really the bad guy, and then it was like that just ended. Like, oh, fine. Redeeming qualities. Laura Bailey as a companion is fantastic. Although what's funny is I ended up picking Ember more often than not because I like Ember more. Even though I'd much rather have Laura Bailey talking to me, I pick Ember. Tales of Tribute is a really fun game. The problem with it is it takes too long. It needs to be about twice as fast for a game to be over, 2 to 3 times as fast, depending on how long your games take. And I think it does better. Or hear me out, if I can play it on my phone and get the rankings, then it goes up in my book, because then I can play it anywhere where I'm stuck waiting, and I would be totally down for that. But as is, yeah, it's really hard to justify putting in the time to play Tales of Tribute enough that, you know, you're going to get into the ranked and care about that and not do other things in the game. So High Isle, this is tough. Probably I'm going to put it below Blackwood, only because it really annoyed me how easy it was to figure out who the bad guy was. And the political intrigue immediately dissolved, and it was like, oh, end of the world storyline. it was so close to being good. Like, you could see the moments where the writing had potential, and then they just dropped it to go back to end of the world stuff. Finally, we've got Necrom. First off, we got the Arcanist. Love it. Love it. The music, fantastic. Apocrypha, fantastic. The Shalvani Peninsula, yeah, it's Morrowind. I don't really care for that mushroom place, like I said. And it's full of dark elves, the Dunmer. Don't care for that. At least the quests were good, involving the Dunmer being shitty people. Um, Questline overall, really good. Really solid questline. Best they've done in a while. I really liked it. Did not predict the ending. Did not even come close to seeing that coming. I'm really excited for what they're cooking. This is very much a Orsinium, Morrowind, Somerset kind of quest line, it looks like. Kind of a long burn one. And if we're already starting out this strong, there's a good chance Gold Road ends up like an S tier. I mean, because we're also getting scribing, but Necrom, really great. They didn't miss any beats. Necrom is a solid A tier, probably tied with Somerset in my opinion. Both are really good. It could go either way. If you're a big fan of Morrowind and Dunmer, you might think that it's better, but I still think Somerset's just slightly edging out Necrom. But we did get a lot of really cool stuff. Bastion Mimics are fantastic too. Love those. Need more of that in my life. Love those more difficult content things that actually you can solo, but it's nice to bring in people, and they are difficult, even with people. But soloing them feels like a challenge. There's your vet overworld. But yeah, this is the definitive ranking of chapters for ESO. And like I said, if you disagree, you can tell me in the comments below. But I will ignore you because you were wrong, and this is the definitive list, so you'll have to deal with that.